Hello and welcome to How to Win the Lottery Season 14 intro episode, the Great American Novel Module Number 2. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
It's your boy Shreds.
Shreds, this is exciting. There are lists of lists of books. What if we did movies? That's not two movies. There's lists of books that you put together that are considered potentially the Great American Novels. We talked about last time, Moby Dick, Blood Meridian.
Yeah.
Not keeping in mind how slowly this all unfolds, could we run out of this?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, maybe if we did this for years and years and years and years and years, but probably not. I think we'll get tired of it before we run out of it.
Because, like, if there's like 100, that still means there's 50 of the 50 pairings, or maybe 100 pairings or something, right? There's still a lot, but, like, theoretically,
yeah,
we would run out of this more quickly than we would run out of. I guess we could run out of states, but we could just do more. But, like, it's not like there's less literature about, like, New Jersey. There's just, like, other ones you're not picking, right?
Right.
But,
we would run out of states first.
But, yeah.
Because the states modules, well, they're 3 each for the most part, with the exception of a couple of them. These are 2 each.
Yep.
But I think I've made like 30 of these already without
really
extending that much effort, like mostly off the top of my head and with some help from my friend Eric.
Would it be safe to say that you enjoy reading?
Well, as much as I enjoy anything, I guess.
I meant that as a joke, and then it got depressing.
I mean, I think that it's a thing to do, and it's a thing that can keep your mind active and keep your brain
Sure.
intellectually engaged throughout the day, so that it doesn't go bad on you.
Sure. As with last time, I'm going to roll a die. So you've written out 10 pairs of books.
10 pairs of books, some much more Great American Novel than others, some of which people would argue against.
Okay.
One of which I think only I would say that they're Great American Novels, but
Really?
maybe.
Interesting. Is there one of these 10 you are hoping for? One of these 10 you're not. Are there any that you like don't want to do? Like they're just like you feel compelled to like, we should read this, we should talk about this?
Yeah, there's 2 books in particular that I think are probably not good.
Are they in the same pairing?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think their reputation is maybe boring. They're like an essential part of the American fabric, and they were both some of the earliest books to earn the label Great American Novel.
Okay. Interesting.
One of which you've recently watched the movie of.
Oh, yes. Have you read that book?
Nope.
But we will one day. Maybe this
Well,
day.
what's happening with this is I have a list of 10 books. Every time we we roll the die,
Yep.
we remove one,
Yep.
and a new one gets added.
Yes.
So the original list that I wrote out was mostly chronological. It went from the very early days of American fiction,
Okay.
moving toward much more contemporary novels.
Okay. We've lost that list.
No, I still have it. I still have it. But
okay.
but every time that a book like Moby Dick gets selected, then that gets pulled from the list of 10, and then I just add a different one to the list of 10. So that's what's happening.
So there's always 9 rollover plus a new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like as we keep going, it's possible that the like Great American Novel aspect of these things might get more and more controversial.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
I think that's kind of what I was asking before. Like if we would run out where it's like, again, not that there's 10 novels. I mean, like do all those 10, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
But there's still, if of the 10 that we're choosing from, if there is one left, that still means there's 90% chance that we don't get that, right? So like, there could always be
there's one novel on this list that I didn't even know was a novel, and
you notice like another medium?
I saw it. Yeah, I knew it as a movie.
Okay.
And it's kind of like it's like a lightweight movie too. And I was like, what? But like when I was doing research on like Great American Novel, it was one of those books that kept coming up.
Huh.
And like there were like, critics from the time that were like calling it this thing because it captured a certain aspect of Americanness and made me really curious about that book. And so that would be kind of a fun one, because I think also reading that coming off of Moby Dick and Blood Meridian would be.
So you hoping for that sort of out of a curiosity sake kind of thing?
Out of curiosity's sake, yeah. But also like part of me does not want these to be even remotely light. Part of me wants it to be Blood Meridian and Moby Dick every time.
Yeah.
Like this just fucking
because
abattoir
you
of
seek punishment.
And also because like there's something you said when
And we talked about it in the episodes too.
but when you were like a little bit into reading Moby Dick, you were like, this is kind of what the podcast should be all the time.
I mean, like, I don't think all the time, but I do think that, like, when you're like, oh, we're doing a book podcast, it's like, oh, so you're like, because there's always like this sentiment, which I don't agree with, but it's just like, I'm working through the New York Times 100 best books of all time. It's like, that's boring. But I think because I think a thing that you are really good at that is not really out there, easily, readily available, at least that I've seen, is that you are able to sort of cull through modern literature in a way and find interesting stuff there. Separate that from the noise. We all know, like, if you want to pick like 10 books from the 1800s or whatever, just like you got Jane Austen, you got Moby Dick, you got whatever, right? Like, I think there's something valuable about the comparison of new, good, modern stuff, and sometimes even not even good modern stuff, just like modern stuff interesting, and then also the books that people assume that, like, if you are a reader, you have read. And
I think the thing about Moby Dick is that it was so dense and heavy, at the same time light, in a strange way, light and readable, but like so thematically like worthwhile. That like that's what I assumed you meant. But when you were like, oh, this is what the podcast should be all the time, it's like there are books that we've read that when we finished reading them, we were both kind of like, that like felt a little bit like we wasted our time on that book, which is like with books, it's harder to waste your time on a book.
Right, because if a movie's bad, in 90 minutes or 2 hours, it's going to be over and you don't have to think about it again. But like a book will take you several hours probably, unless it's like breezy.
Yeah, but the thing about like reading a bad book or a book that is not your taste or a book that is something that interferes with your like the entertainment factor of like what you want from stuff is that it still sort of reroutes your brain to find ways to talk about it that you know you're still looking for what the intent was behind things. You're still looking for symbolism. You're still looking for like ways that the author subverted what you in particular were expecting from the book, and like why all of those things might be worth analyzing, even if the reward pleasure center part of your brain is rejecting that book from an entertainment point of view. Or even like, I don't know, most people I know would not read Moby Dick for entertainment, because like, I think most people would find it too daunting to be entertainment, in spite of like,
it's actually not that.
Yeah, I think. I also think that's bullshit, because I think Moby Dick is like among other things super funny. Yeah, I think even a bad book is worth reading, but like, it's hard to not feel like your time has been wasted when you realize that you could have been reading Moby Dick all along. I mean, you've found that about. You've said that to me about movies before.
Yeah, we're like I've done on this network a lot of podcasts following like an actor's career, and like there's a lot of them just like, oh, that's not good. Like there's just a lot like in any actor, unless like with very few exceptions, they're going to be in a lot of stuff that just isn't very good. That is not their fault. That they might be good in the thing, but it's not. And at a certain point, like that's why I know what I'm about to say is crazy, but it's why we started the Fast and Furious podcast, not because those are the best movies, but it's like they're a known quantity and we can choose things to watch and talk about around those.
But also it's like every time that you're watching John Krasinski's If, you're not watching The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3,
right?
Or whatever.
Yes,
you know, there's like a million great movies out there that you're just like not watching because you're trying to stay culturally relevant.
I think there is a thing here where there is a purity to these books that, and this is not a fault of your selections. I think it might be a fault of like what we're doing here. But instead of like finding 10 books that are maybe eco books or 3 books that are set in Ohio or whatever, you're like, what's a book everyone says is great?
Right.
And then let's read it. And it might not be, but like there's something that's like, because I think there's also like the same thing a minute ago when we were talking about like watching like all of Nicolas Cage's movies or whatever. Like watching certain movies as a Nicolas Cage movie is inherently the wrong way to watch certain movies. Right. Where the same thing where it's like reading a book as an eco book is the wrong way to read a book. Yeah. Certain books, not every book.
I think that's true. Yeah.
And so here it's just like, I think with the states, like the states are like, they're in between. Maybe like there is like a pure, just like, it's not really themed. It's themed, but it's not themed. It's just like, it probably, hopefully, fingers crossed, takes place here.
Yeah. And I'm always looking for regionalism as a thing because I think like place connects humans in a kind of interesting perspectival way.
But this is just, what's a goddamn good book.
It's a classic.
All right, so I got a 10-sided die.
Yeah.
There's a 1 through 9 and a 0.
I got my Dungeon Master's Guide. I got Kitty Pryde.
Are you rapping?
And Nightcrawler 2 waiting here for me. Yes, I do. It's a Weezer song.
Kitty Pryde became Kate Pryde.
I know. Not crazy about that.
All right. You have the list in front of you. What number are you hoping for? I don't want to know the books, but what number are you hoping for?
6.
Okay. Now 6 is there's a psych out because like it could be a 6 or could be a 9. I've got to look for that line underneath. But here we go. The dice roll for Great American Novel number 2 is so close. It is a 7.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Is that good O or bad O?
It's an intenso.
Okay, so we're keeping up intensity. Okay.
We got The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner,
Okay.
matched with The Demon by Hubert Selby Jr.
I do not know The Demon or Hubert Selby Jr.
You know Hubert Selby Jr. as the author of, among other things, Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, so this is a much more recent book than The Sound and the Fury.
I think The Demon is probably the 80s.
Okay. I have read other Faulkner. I have not read this.
What Faulkner have you read? As I Lay Dying? That's my guess.
Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I logged it on Goodreads. I don't think I read As I Lay Dying. I think I read A Light in August.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that was. Is that a common high school book?
I don't know. Faulkner's tough for high school, man. Faulkner is a difficult author, but you were in the Smarty Pants
I was
class.
in AP English.
Yeah.
I don't have it marked. I don't have any of his books marked on Goodreads. His most popular, based on number of ratings, is The Sound and the Fury.
Yeah, I think that's classically what you would think of as the Great American Novel.
507 editions of that. So we have The Sound and the Fury, which is about 400 pages. Mm-hmm. And then we have The Demon, which is about 300 pages.
Yeah.
When we did the first roll, we were like, oh, we're getting thrown into the fire. It was like excitement, if only because intensity, whatever. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this pairing?
10. It's
Sweet.
great.
Cool.
It's great. 10 is these are books about moral decay. These are books that are going to be pretty dark.
I think a lot of these books in this
because America's dark, man. So the Great American Novel is almost always going to be about moral rot and spiritual corruption.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So, because that's like the lie of the American dream.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Keep reading.
Today's crime is beating a man to death with a shillelagh.